You don't want to try?
Yes.
Lame.
Okay, so I think theoretically we are live.
Okay, one of us.
We are live.
Yeah, you pull it up on YouTube perhaps?
Yes. Oh, look, there's the link.
So we can see what is going on over there.
There we are.
Yay! I do believe we are live.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have 0 people watching.
Technically, I'm watching, but I don't count.
You're kind of over there.
You're watching in a way that the algorithm doesn't care about.
Cormac is here.
Yay! Hello, Cormac.
Oh, now we have 4 people watching. That's cool.
They've been waiting for you.
Waiting.
We've been expecting you.
We've been live for 1 minute and 15 seconds, 5 minutes early.
And Genevieve.
Cool.
What was the song? They've been right there waiting for you.
Okay, and StreamYard shows us the comments. So if you go to StreamYard and go to the comments tab.
Sweet. We can
Here's
see
my
comments.
big brother. Yay!
And we can, I think, Kean at least can reply to.
Yes, I can post a comment directly out.
Excellent.
Should I want to? At any rate, hi Cormac. Yes, the camera's over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Are you enjoying retirement, Cormac? Oh, yes, there is a substantial delay.
There's a very substantial delay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, Renegade's here.
Yay!
Wonderful.
Showing off. There we go.
And I've got.
And Iago is here.
Yeah, wow.
We are getting quite the list of dignitaries.
Yeah,
Excellent.
no pressure though.
None. None at all.
Wait till I show them my pet project and they all roll over dead.
Wait, don't tell me yet.
The spreadsheet.
Oh, God.
Surprise. No, you just need to say it like the spreadsheet.
Yes, the spreadsheet.
It's very ominous.
It's like talking to astronauts on the moon.
Astronauts on the moon.
Sorry about that. What is the delay? I don't know.
We love the moon.
Oh God.
Hello, Rebecca.
The caveat is finally kicked in.
When we tested this, the delay was like at least 30 seconds, wasn't it?
Something
Yes.
like that. It's 20 to 30, somewhere in there.
We have 2 minutes till live, and then we'll actually start the show. We're just hanging out until then.
Mm-hmm.
And we're it's like romper room, really. We're just saying hello to everyone who says something. So
We should. Can you drop a line into the SCN official chat?
Oh, yes.
See if anyone wants to come in and do consulting.
yes, please do that because it would be an abuse of my of a lot of things.
So it's not just like senior heralds. There's a few people here who aren't senior heralds.
I'm old. We're old. Come on, Dad. Voices. I'm not allowed to do it at the office.
Yep. Okay.
1 minute to live.
Go over here.
I think my computer would choke if I tried to run Facebook in addition to the other 26 tabs I'm running.
Probably.
The poor thing, it wasn't designed for like any computing that actually requires power. It's just a Chromebook. It's a glorified web browser.
Pretty much. I thought about, well, I almost got my mom one. Unfortunately, missed it.
It is 6 o'clock. That means that we should
Heraldry!
officially go live. So welcome to Heraldic Shenanigans with me, Kean. That Aasa.
And me, Aasa.
Yeah, that Aasa. And our very, very special guest.
Baron Constantia.
Constantia!
From Callantyr.
From Callantyr. We are very happy to have them with us.
Oh no, Cormac is giving us homework.
Oh man! I didn't sign. Well, actually, I did sign up for this.
Hey, you know what I can do? I can put this up on the feed and we can talk about it.
We could.
So let's see. Well, you're working with a new branch who's deciding on a name and device. What guidance do you give them that's different from an individual? Okay, well, I mean, the first and obvious thing is that for the device, there needs to be a laurel wreath somewhere. So that will affect how the device is organized.
Mhm.
There's really only a couple of decent ways to put a laurel wreath on a device, the most common of which is to put it big and have something else in the middle of it, or put it big and have something else like in chief. Although there are a bunch that are like 3 in chief. What else have people done? Oh, there's one where doesn't Ontier have the lion holding it?
Yes. The lion is maintaining the laurel wreath. But one of the other things that I would suggest is something during my tenure as Gold Falcon.
Drink.
Drink. We had a couple or we had a brand new group, and I would recommend something that's easy to draw, or something that you could turn into a badge, or that has an element that could turn into a badge really easily. So
that makes sense. Over here in the West, we have had trouble with populace badges for
in the West.
Yes.
Yes,
For instance, the West itself and the Principality of the Mist, which have no charges that aren't restricted.
Oh God.
I take no. The Mist does have one charge that is not restricted, and that is the Bordur Engrailed.
That is true. Yes, but yeah, for the West itself, the Demi-Sun appears nowhere on the official arms. They had to come up with something for a populace badge, because otherwise it's just the laurel wreath and the crown. Yeah, good plan. I mean, honestly, there was no planning involved.
No, none at all. But yeah,
So-
that's what I would make a suggestion for, is find something that isn't restricted, like a crown or a coronet or something like that. And
Kind of theme it around that. You could do that. It's not mandatory. I mean, the West does have the Demi-Sun, and the Mist has the Sea-Wolf, that are populace badges that are not in the primary armory, so it can be done. As far as the name, it's interesting. There's a lot of different approaches that have been taken by branches over the years.
Yeah.
I guess that I would recommend looking around at the location and seeing if there's something about the location that is name-worthy, which is, I mean, honestly, how people usually named things throughout history is, this place is a hill alongside a river, so you name it something like that, but in Middle English.
Yep. And one of the things that, or you could even go back to, like, I live in the Barony of Forgotten Sea, which is in Missouri. It's the Kansas City area, and there was the giant inland sea that comprised this area. So they went way back in naming it. Is it a particularly period name? Not really, but it evokes a lot of that historical sense, and that's another route. Again, not period. If you really want to go period, by all means, go for it. I think Ansteora has been trying to get a principality off the ground, and it named it Vindheim because of the wind in Oklahoma's or in Oklahoma. So where the wind is sweeping down the plain.
Sure.
Quite literally.
I like it.
Yes.
There You could also go for less physical characteristics. Possibly my favorite SCA place name of all time is Cordon Lee.
Also a Calipir.
Yes, it
the
is.
Heart of Florida.
Yes. So that's a lovely one. And you also might think about something that plays well with your neighbors, because branches aren't developed in isolation. So like if you're an on-tier, there's a pretty strong theme for language there with the Gaelic. They've got the on-tier, which is just the land, and their principality Tieri, which is King's Land. And while not all of their branches are named that way, you might look around and say, you know, does this name in with the other names in the area?
Is there a local naming pattern?
Right.
And it's not mandatory, but
yeah, it's
something to think about because you want to be good neighbors.
Also, something that is I don't want to say easily pronounceable, but something that's not going to consistently trip up your populace members.
Yes.
So don't do a tongue twister of a name.
Or don't do a name that could be construed as offensive.
Or
Yes.
could be construed as offensive. Yeah.
You want to be inclusive for something like a place naming device, because it's going to have people from throughout the area, regardless of whether they're the part of the founding group or not.
And this is, you know, regardless of language, because you can have a tongue twister of a name in English. So I'm not saying, you know, don't pick another language. I'm saying just, you know, be mindful of pronounceability.
Or if someone who is just now seeing the name of the group and they say it in a way that is unexpected.
Yes.
Cormac, yes.
Cormac, in his wisdom, that is an excellent suggestion.
So that suggestion to run the name by a 5-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
And you'll find out if your perfectly innocent sounding name has some meaning you didn't know of.
When pronounced in a way you did not expect. Yeah.
Okay.
And that one friend who makes everything awkward, no matter what it is. Run it by them too, just to see.
And scrolling up a little bit, I see Genevieve also has a question.
Oh, I missed that. Where is that?
Oh,
she hasn't actually said what it is. Okay. Please ask the question, and I can show it on the screen. And in the meantime, I see a couple people in the comments commenting. Redundancy.
Department of.
Yep. Sarah Grayhan says that their shire is River's Bend, which is on a bend of the Columbia River. Excellent. That's just a wonderfully classic name. And Oakbourne Keep in Meridies, thank you, has oak leaves and an acorn and a black and white color scheme, which are similar to the kingdoms. So for excellent visual theming. So yeah, I appreciate that.
And Edith has joined us as well.
Welcome,
Hello, Edith.
welcome. So we're waiting on a question. So while we do that, I'm going to horrify some people. A few weeks ago, decided that I was going to create a spreadsheet. And spreadsheets are a thing that I do. Let's see if I share screen. And then
He made a toy.
I did.
It's fun.
It's amusing. It's super unpolished. And I need this tab.
Anybody who's actually
there we
a
go.
professional programmer, get ready to cringe.
Yeah. But this is a randomizer. And we'll get to the question in a moment. Let me show this off for just a second so people can be properly horrified. That a randomizer that suggests 2 random categories of charge and 3 tinctures to make a random device.
Mhm.
So if somebody comes up and says, I want a device, but I really have no ideas for what that should be, then this will hopefully tell you, hey, go ahead and make a device with a plant vine and maybe a zill if you want, and use sable and argent, and maybe ore if you feel like it. And then just pull this down and it'll switch. And now it suggests make a device with a manacle and maybe a hawk's lure. Yeah.
I have so many questions already.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
I would never have thought of putting a manacle and a hawk's lure on the same device, but wow, that's really interesting.
So many questions if you want people to have all the questions.
And we'll come back to that in a minute. In the meantime,
That's a fabulous question. I love this one.
Okay, so augmentations are really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They are, in some ways, allowed to break the rules. There's rules about how many layers above the shield you can have, where there's the shield and then charges, and then you can have charges on charges. I need a third hand. Thanks. You can have charges on charges, but you can't have a fourth one.
Field, charge
on charge, but you can't have a charge on a charge on a charge unless it's an augmentation, and then sometimes you can. And sometimes they're allowed to break tincture rules, but not often because they still have to be identifiable.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they can break complexity is the big one that they can do. If you've already got a device that's pushing up against the max complexity count, which is the total number of charges and tinctures
Added together.
And the normal complexity count max is 8. If you already have an 8 complexity device, and then you get an augmentation, you can totally add another like 2 or 3 complexity onto it, and that's still fine because augmentations are weird. So some of the question is, what do you get the augmentation for and where? Because most augmentations have most is probably too strong of a word. Many augmentations have a suggested form that they take. Let me grab a drink. And I can't think of any right now. You think of any augmentations?
Spike in Atlantia, where
and Spike is
a unicornate natural seahorse that happens to be
okay.
Yes.
And is that the normal form that all augmentations in Atlantia take?
That is their standard augmentation. It can deviate, of course. And that's something to look for. Palantir uses the ensign, which is purport a cross a Calatrava ore, as part of our standard augmentation. It might, if you need the border, you could use it. But
okay. So Spygrim is a Lion of Antir, and that comes with an augmentation. So I would assume then that you would slap Antir's lion onto something. There's kind of 2 standard ways that the SCA does augmentations. One of which is slap it into a canton, which is the upper right corner, because that is the upper right corner. It may look like the upper left corner, but it's the upper right corner because it's the person holding the shield that matters.
If you do theater, heraldry directions are stage directions.
Yes, and we have this super helpful device right back here. So if Lynette were to get an augmentation that was like slap a lion onto this, then you would basically leave the rest of it intact, cut out the canton, make it a solid color, and then slap the lion on top of that.
What's slapping?
Slapping, all the slapping.
we're slightly violent.
Cutting and
alternatively,
such violent heraldry.
Alternatively, if you've got a really simple device, you could always put it on a chief. You could put it on what's called an escutcheon of pretense, which sits in the middle of.
I was going to get there. Yep.
Oh, well, sorry.
Yep. No. I'm happy to have other people talk too. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And remind me to get back to Chiefs in a minute, though.
Yes.
Ask for the third option because you're getting option number 2 for what to do with.
So you wouldn't want to put the escutcheon of pretense on this one because it's got the central device. But if you have
unless you have
unless it's big enough.
It.
Oh, you
Yeah,
could.
beat me to it. Yes, and that also works.
Yeah. So I guess what's Steinkrum's device right now?
And now we wait.
Hold on. I could probably
Or
look
we
it
can
up.
look it up. I mean, like we're heralds, we could just look it up. We're sometimes
I
lazy.
have time for that.
Stellari.
Oh, thanks, Cormac. Thanks.
And it's
so
yours for
Stellari.
the low price
Here
of.
Oh, okay. So he's currently got Paley of 6 Ore and Sable, a Fess counter changed.
Oh, that's pretty.
That is
That-
pretty.
And an escutcheon of pretense on that. Oh,
Would be perfectly centered. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would look better than a Canton.
Yeah,
Yes.
it would. Yeah.
That is absolutely lovely. Yeah. So a little shield with the lion on it. Just stick it right in the center of that device, and I think that would look wonderful.
Yeah. You might check with the Ontir Heralds and see if there's a standard form for the Lion of Ontir augmentation, but yeah.
So getting back to Chiefs, one of the things that I've learned by other people doing research.
Apparently the augmentation is a checky sash for a lion.
Oh, interesting. Checky sash for a lion.
I think that might be a. Oh, that's interesting. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by a checky sash.
One moment.
Well, we'll look it up. And in the meantime, I will talk about Italian heraldry.
Yay!
Because one of the things that I've learned from other people doing research is that Italians very frequently showed allegiance with a chief. So if you look through Italian rules of arms, there's all kinds of things where you look at it and say, man, that chief looks familiar. Or what the hell is that chief doing on that device? It just doesn't go at all. Like, it's breaking all kinds of rules.
Because it's a chief of a...
Right, and they did that a lot. Because, I mean, as you'd expect, in a country that wasn't even a country until the 19th century, there were an awful lot of changing allegiances. And it would be very important to know which family was beholden to which other family or area. And when you look through Italian rules of arms, they're right there in picture form.
It tells you.
Yep. So that also would be a way to do augmentations. That is, if you have an Italian persona in particular, that would be super period to have a chief as an augmentation. That's essentially how they use those things. Cormac says, no standard augmentation on here, but we're working on it. There are 2 populous badges with lions' heads.
And that works.
Okay.
That works really well.
Yeah. So.
And chiefs of allegiance are also common throughout the Holy Roman Empire.
Which
and
neither
you also
holy,
use that-
nor Roman, nor an empire, says the Byzantine.
It's true.
That's exactly what I was saying under my breath, and I was about to drink for it.
Nope, I'm already there.
So Cormac, what you're suggesting is that, like, as a form of display, you could, instead of having like the address banners that I know Kaid is fond of, you could have your device with like the kingdom slapped on top. Is that what you're saying? What exactly is your suggestion there?
I think what his suggestion is, and because he and I have actually talked about this before, is the chief thing, where the augmentation does not necessarily have to match the standard augmentation. It is one of those things that is check your your local heralds. But a prime example of that is Gawain of Mistbridge has an augmentation that is 3 trumpets. Does not use the Callantyr standard augmentation at all.
Okay.
So,
and since I realized that I just dropped a reference that possibly only 1 or 2 people in the audience will understand, the Kaiden address banner is a very long, yes, thanks, and usually relatively thin banner, usually in silk, where the section next to the staff has the Kaiden crescent. Then the next over will have the barony. And the next section over will have, if there is a subsection of the barony, such as a college, which isn't technically a subsection of the barony, but is often thought of as one, but we'll move over that, and it's different places anyway. We'll move on. A shire or something, then possibly a household, and then your personal arms. So you can look at the long, thin Kaiden banners, and it is literally an address. Which saved me at a war once when things went south, and someone found me by my address banner and came and helped.
Oh, that's nice.
All right, so have we sufficiently answered the augmentation question? I think we probably have.
I think we have, yes.
All right.
Aasa, do you have a topic you want to talk about? Or shall I fill time?
Let's play some more with the generator. That thing is fun.
So while we wait for other people to have topics to discuss, let's go back to that generator. While we were setting up here, I was playing with it a little bit. Oh yeah, the camera is over there. Well,
I still think it needs googly eyes.
I'm not even drinking. Neither
am I.
This is the Patriarchy's Tears?
Yes, that's the Yes, the cocktail that I'm drinking tonight is called Patriarchy's Tears.
Delicious.
If you like gin and florals, it is fantastic. It is gin, rosewater, sparkling lemonade, and beverage luster dust.
Some edible glitter.
Make sure you get the FDA approved stuff.
Yes, the FDA approved stuff.
Yes.
You're not digesting it either way, but one of them might leach into your bloodstream and the other one is inert.
Yes.
Yes. What you heard from off screen. Thank you, Kate.
So I was playing around a little bit with the random, the Heraldry randomizer earlier, and came up with this. This was just pretty much what was suggested. We have it suggested a ZIL, but the free library of images that I'm using didn't actually have a ZIL available, so I switched it for Zool. Zool is what this thing is called. It's related to a chess piece, and I put them in the most obvious configuration. Since we have a long, skinny charge and kind of a squarish charge, this is an obvious thing to do with them, and put them in the recommended colors. And surprise, surprise, that's completely clear. Wait, I have to actually share it, don't I?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, no, we're good.
Yeah,
it should be
it's just
sharing.
on delay.
It's there.
Okay, we're sharing. We're good. Okay. Right. And to my complete lack of surprise, there are no devices that have both a chess piece and an ivy vine. Because those are.
And there's Cormac with.
There is only Zoom.
Yes, thank you, Cormac. We made several of those jokes in the pre-show, including I believe Constantia was saying that we should find someone who wants to be Dana, and make sure they have a Zool. Yes,
and make it Azure because that's Azul.
So the Heraldry randomizer will get you something like this, which is it's honestly pretty good looking. However, you can then, if you feel like it, play around a little bit and end up with, let's see if I share the
It's so
right tab.
pretty. It is so pretty.
Nope, that's wrong.
Oh no!
It's so pretty, but it's not actually the one that I wanted. Hold on.
We have a question from Crystal Leak, or a series of questions, and we have another question from Genevieve.
Excellent.
So from Crystal Leak, if you could
give me just a sec. I want to show the other one real quick, if it'll share correctly.
Yes.
There we go. Fine. They'll see it when they see it. With the same idea of the Zool and the Ivy, you could end up with this instead, which is super pretty. Look at that thing. Okay, and then we'll go back to questions.
Let's see. And to Nora, who is Googling patriarchy tears, you probably won't find a recipe for it on the internet because I and a couple of friends invented it last week.
It's brand new, everyone. Yeah,
and it is tasty.
All right. So let's start with the chronologically first question here. Rules for heraldry for kids. So kids can totally have registered names and devices. They don't require anything special. There are a couple of considerations that you might want to keep in mind when registering devices for kids. The first of which is whether that's actually what they want. Which, the good news is, if they decide they don't want it later, they can always change it.
It's your name, and you can change it. It's your heraldry, and you can change it.
I don't think that kids are inherently any worse at coming up with period-appropriate armory than adults are.
I got one. I will
go ahead.
I have one of my very first client or a submitter who happened to be a kid came up with this on his own. Sable across doubly caudiced ore.
That's wonderful.
Ooh. He came up with that on his own, and what I love about it is it's ruler heraldry. All you need is a ruler.
Yeah.
And so sometimes kids come up with some really amazing devices that,
And sometimes they want pink unicorns swimming in lakes or something. But I mean, I've met adults that want that too.
Yep. Actually, we were running a consultation table earlier today as part of the West's Fall Crown. So I and several of the other senior heralds of the college, and two of our clients, or two of the things we were researching were for kids. And that's totally cool, especially since clearly it was pretty clear from both things we were discussing. One of the kids was actually on screen with their parent, that the kid had input and liked the thing.
I have seen a couple of pitfalls with heraldry for kids. If the idea is the parents and the kid's not really on board, that can be unfortunate.
Yes.
And again, that's a fixable mistake later. It can be changed. And I've seen kids as young as like 8 or so get heraldry. And sometimes they change it later. Sometimes they stick with it.
Yeah. Sometimes, you come up with something with your when you're 6 and it just sticks with you your whole life and you still like it when you're 60.
Yeah. So there is also another consideration, which is if it's the parent's idea and they really want the kid to have a device, then I highly suggest just using the period route and giving them one of the parents' devices and slapping a label on it.
Yep.
Because if the point is labeling the kids, then use a label.
If found, return to. Yes.
That said, filling out the actual paperwork part of it, there are still a couple of options. If your kid is old enough and they've come up with a name, you can attach it to that. Or as a parent, you can register it as a badge, and you can have up to 10 badges, and then you can release it to your child, or transfer it to your child. at a later date if they want it.
Yep. Transfer paperwork isn't very hard unless you're that jerk in Kaid who would never finish the paperwork. I tried to
That
give
one
away
guy.
a name for like 10 years. Anyway, Cormac came up with that name and I registered it. And then I really don't use it very much. But
It's a delight. One of these days, you should enter a list using that name.
oh, I should.
You
You're right.
should.
Yes.
You're right. Remind me next time we have an event that's not too serious. I will use my alternate name and freak people out.
I'll have to come up with a matching alternate name, though,
Okay.
for you to introduce me by.
I mean, we can do
we
that.
can hold a consultation.
I don't think Ashley ever actually registered Helen Waite,
Oh, good.
which is my pet name that I never got anyone to register.
Yeah, is
That's not
And
what
there's-
I need something that rolls sensibly off of, and today I fight for.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll work
And
on
I
it.
feel like there's a lot of stuff that could go there.
We'll work on that.
Mhm.
Okay. Trends in heraldry. This is actually a really interesting question. I started 20 odd years ago at this point, and much later than a lot of the people around here, but still far enough back that I've seen FCA heraldry, and I've seen the rise in accessibility of medieval heraldry, which is a really big deal. Even when I started, which was in the late 90s, there was not much available if you wanted to look at rolls of arms. There were like 2 or 3.
I was designing my heraldry in the mid 2000s. I think I registered it in 2008 or so, 2007, 2008, right around in there. And there still wasn't a whole lot of, there weren't a whole lot of rolls of arms available. And I for a thing to look at that point until a couple of years later. Hence, my heraldry, which I love dearly, does not look particularly medieval, but I still love it dearly. I mean, my field is semi of music notes.
Yes.
And now I have switched the screen. We have a collection available online of dozens of period rolls of arms, so we can look at them and say what kinds of things are medieval armory. And looking through them, it's pretty clear that the SCA has developed its own style of armory. There are certain things that are typically SCA. There's a lot of bordures.
Yes, we use a lot of bordures.
And that's because as our rules evolved over the years, that was the go-to how to get a difference from other devices.
The good old slap a bordure on it.
Tried and true advice. As it turns out, we use a lot more green and purple than a
lot of period rolls used, especially purple, I think.
Yeah, and it depends on where you are. Like Italian,
that's true. That's very true.
Italian has a fair amount of green, and I think purple.
Italian is full of green.
Probably.
It is.
Yeah. But other trends I've seen, and I think like a lot of people when they first start think that, you know, your heraldry, it doesn't represent who you are, but what you do. And I think we see a lot of that. It may not be necessarily a trend, but that is something that we do see. So things like paw prints, which are not very period, but we have registered a lot of paw prints.
Yes, we have.
There is no longer a rule that you need any difference from period heraldry unless it's something really famous, like the arms of France or England or something. We
No, you cannot be Castile.
No.
No.
But we haven't checked against random rolls of arms since the 90s. Thank God.
Yes.
That would be a real problem now that we have access to so many rolls of arms.
Yes, it would.
Retroactively.
I mean, yes.
So as far as trends, the trend I've actually seen over the last 10 years or so is we've gotten a little bit more awareness of what period heraldry looked like. And while the SCA as a whole isn't really moving that direction, there is a subset of people that are looking more at, well, wait, what would they have actually used?
Right. Like, we get people saying, well, I'm Italian, so, or my persona is Italian, and I want to have Italian arms. What do? You say, well, here's some Italian rolls of arms, so you can flip through them and see what sorts of things catch your eye that say this is very Italian.
And some of that wouldn't even have been possible when I joined because the rules didn't allow for it. And now we've got rules that say that if you can find it in period armorials and show a pattern, you can use it, barring a couple of other things like offense.
Right. If it's offensive, that's just
But if you want to do something that's more complex than our rules normally allow, or if it's color on color, which our rules don't normally allow, or metal on metal, but you can show that they actually did this in a time and place. Cool. We like research.
Yes.
Hey, Kean, what if you've got a non-heraldic culture like me?
We talked about that some last time.
No, that's right, we did. I forgot about that, yes.
No, that's fine. It's worth revisiting.
It is.
It pretty much comes down to, if they really didn't have any heraldry at all, that's rough, and you have to figure out, like, as a person who's playing in the SCA, do you want to try to have something that will evoke the culture of your persona in some way, or do you just want to have a device that meets SCA rules and is good enough for you?
Because there are motifs that that can evoke a particular culture, and if you look into those for non-heraldic cultures, that can help. Looking at the artwork from your culture can give you some ideas. Some of them might not be heraldically possible, but some of them might, and most of the heralds will be willing to work with you and figure out something that works for you.
I mean, that's what I ended up doing for mine. I've got hey, look, I've got a mug with my heraldry on it, and I've got a Byzantine persona. So I ended up putting serif on stuff because Byzantium, there are serifs everywhere. So that's why when I was with mine. It looks like we've got another interesting question.
On computer. Okay, so what to do with offensive armory belonging to a branch? That is a timely question. We've dealt with that with heraldry belonging to individuals and households. I don't know that we've dealt with that belonging to a branch yet, have we?
I don't think we have, no.
Not Western. I don't know if any branches have had and subsequently changed offensive heraldry. So
the first step would be, obviously, finding the offensive armory. There's an example. Okay. The example is Meridius' Mullet and Saltier Populace badge. Let me go look at that since I am not familiar with it.
I am very familiar with this one.
No, I've heard of this one. It's the one that somewhat evokes the Confederate flag, right?
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me see.
it is.
Didn't that come up internally on a Herald's letter recently?
It
I
might
believe
have.
it did. Yes.
So it may be in the process of being changed. I haven't seen the letter in question.
You guys chat, and let me do a little bit of digging here.
Okay. Well,
Dig
so
with two Ds, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Good.
think one of the really important things about this is if it's not your local group, that is, yeah. If it is your kingdom, then talk to your principal herald, your kingdom seneschal, your crown. But if it's not like your local group, that's a lot of self-insertion at that point. And this is where it gets kind of sticky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you might like talk to people who live there and see if one of the locals can
bring it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what you finding?
First, I had to find the right software. Then this search is going to hurt. Oh wait, there's a date limiter.
Yes, there is.
And it would be
Kean is
this
checking
year.
Oscar. Yeah. Okay. So, is there or could there be a separate registration category if we're not using this but nobody else can either?
Ooh.
As in registration to prevent use?
It would have to be registered to the society, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
There are things that we register on behalf of things that are not us, like we have like England and France, as previously mentioned.
Right.
So it would have to be something like that.
You have an entire person account whose name is Do Not Register.
Or do not use, or something
Bad Stuff
similar.
Bob. Oh, this is registered to Bad Stuff Bob. That must be offensive in some way that we don't want anybody to use.
Cormac has a decent suggestion. If Meridius asked the College of Heralds to designate that as a former populace badge, then that would leave it in the system so people can't just register it again, but it would clearly show that you're not supposed to be using it.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. I am not.
It's worth asking for sure. Worth getting the kingdom to ask the Laurel College.
And of course, that requires from the powers that be in the kingdom.
It looks like their royal majesties are discouraging use of it.
So that's good. That's a step in the right direction. Man, Meridius has a lot of things registered.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Presumably.
Let
me see if I can just search for
Control F is a beautiful thing.
They have a different populace badge, the Lombardic uppercase M, and in base a comet Fesvies Argent. That's cool. This one, Sable, a mullet within a saltire of loaded Argent, registered in 1983.
Is that the one?
I believe
probably.
That is the one.
Yeah. It came up in conversation at some point recently, and I can't remember if it was an official conversation or an unofficial conversation. I'm not seeing it come up on our internal commentary system, so I'm thinking it must have been an unofficial conversation.
Or
So if something official is going to get done about that, then it'll need to go through official channels. The heraldic, whoever the high heraldic officers in Meridius are, will have to get together with their majesties of Meridius and actually send in paperwork.
Yeah, send in it would need to be a written request from the college and the Crown.
Which I believe for something like that, it needs to have the signatures of both.
Probably.
Yes.
I would expect so. I am not at that level in the college, but I have been a principal herald, and I count it because I have finished it. But
What are your beers?
ooh.
Do those need to be chilled or served over ice?
No, they're supposed to be room temperature, I think. German.
When you were Vesper,
Mm-hmm.
did the West register any badges or order names or
Do
anything?
you need a second?
Yeah,
cup
I'm
for
gonna
that?
need a pop.
A pop. Do you need a cup?
Yes, I suppose I should not be a heathen if I could get a.
Did the West submit any like badges or order names or anything while you were Vesper?
We submitted some heraldic titles because we were changing some of our internal deputy names.
But that doesn't go through the Crown.
But that doesn't go through
My
the
recollection of how this process works is that both the Crown and the Principal Herald have to sign off on.
And that
something
said, I am aware that the current Principal Herald of Meridian is assigned, or they and the the Kingdom Seneschal of Meridian, they both consulted on what to do about this badge. So it is being handled.
Something is happening.
Yeah, something is happening. But really, it boils down to what to do with offensive armory belonging to a branch. Talk to those people, and that's really where the conversation should start.
And keep in mind for all of these things that the heraldic machine is slow.
Yes, it is.
Really slow.
So something could be in progress. You know, something could have been in process for the last 6 months, and you just don't know because it hasn't been finished and publicized yet.
Yeah.
But you should be able to find out by sending an email to the Principal Herald of Meridiace, and their contact information should be available on the Kingdom website. So
that being said, it is being handled. Please don't spam them.
Yeah, like don't like send angry emails about it. But I had words with the establishment in Meridiace myself within the last 6 months, and there were polite words, and I got a polite response, and action was taken.
Excellent.
Not because of me necessarily, but let me tell you another thing about emailing people who are in office or either the appointed or the kind earned by beating someone with a stick. Those people don't get a lot of correspondence, honestly. So if 5 people send emails to an officer, that's kind of a lot. Your voice is audible. If you're the only person saying something, then they might ignore you. But if they get like 20 emails about a subject that are all saying the same thing, that's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
What is this one?
This is Doppelbach Dunkel from Andexkloster in Germany.
Ooh, excellent.
That is lovely. Excellent. Lovely.
Yeah, there is a German restaurant near the new office for my work, and they have this on tap, and I love it.
Oh, Stouts on tap is just great.
Yeah, this one.
It really is. My workplace also does that, and it's great.
Yeah.
Y'all, I just sent you something.
On private chat?
Uh-huh.
Just a moment.
Oh, goodness. And it seems I have missed a message from our ASL interpreter.
Oh, no. Okay, can you handle that? I totally forgot we were supposed to do that interfacing.
Yeah.
Oops.
Let's see. A link to the live stream.
Okay, so Constantia, what inoffensive stereotypes in heraldry actually show up in period roles? Strands of garlic in Italian armory. So what you're saying is that to a modern sensibility, if you have a strand of garlic in an Italian armory, that could be seen as mocking of Italians.
Well,
is that where you're going?
Or this is the question as I received it.
Oh, okay.
So things like again, we think of Italian food as being heavily garlic.
So just an Italian stereotype is that there's lots of garlic.
Right.
Okay.
Or
I think
things that are also inoffensively stereotypical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think the answer to this is I don't know enough period armory to actually be able to answer that question.
I mean, there's the stereotype of German heraldry having a lot of red and black,
True.
for instance.
That is true.
There's the stereotype of Italian heraldry having a lot of landscape.
Oh, yes. Tuscany proper.
There are a few charges that are pretty stereotypically from a particular place. The double-headed eagle is very associated with the Holy Roman Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
And the Schnecke is a German charge, as you might be able to tell from the name. There's several other charges that are quintessentially German. You can find them because they're the ones with German names.
Uh-huh.
I believe we're still having internal discussions about that weird thing they do with like the Nami animals.
Yes. The two heads sort of both issuing in opposite directions from the line of division.
Yeah, it's which there was a discussion recently about whether the blazon that we use for those actually makes any sense, or yes, like that, or whether we should like actually just use the German name for it.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think we should probably use the German name, and then because
that was my takeaway from that conversation too.
Yeah, it's the motif has a name. Just because it's in German doesn't mean we shouldn't use the name.
Getting echoes. I'm not sure what to do about that.
Yeah, because I shouldn't be giving any.
No, it has to be feedback from my speaker system. But I am not sure what to do about it.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we'll figure it out.
If I can mute my mic when Constantia is talking, that is, it's probably only when you're speaking a little more loudly.
Mm-hmm.
But I can
be a little bit more quiet. So.
We're heralds. Nobody expects us to be quiet.
Right. Iago says that the Nami thing is Baronschnitt. I mean Germans. So
I mean, and that just, I know it's not what the word means, but it just gives me warm fuzzy pictures of a bear eating schnitzel. So
raindrop.
New device. Can we document a schnitzel in
I mean, pretzels are German.
Pretzels are German.
Do we have pretzels registered?
Yes, actually we do.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Let me see if we have specifically schnitzel registered.
You could pretzels in the mustard pot.
We don't. But I'm not actually seeing the wrong.
That's the wrong search form.
It's the wrong search form.
Silly
Hold
Kean.
on. I'm in the wrong tab.
Oh, you.
That's what happens when you have so many tabs. Oh, you and your tabs. Poor beer.
So no schnitzels using the right form, but yes, there are 13 pretzels.
A baker's dozen.
Yes, it's true. Although some of those devices have more than one, so
there's a baker's dozen of pieces of heraldry with pretzels.
Boom. There you go.
I
So
get semantics.
if you want to have a device with a bear eating a pretzel, that's pretty hard. But you can at least have a bear holding a pretzel.
I mean, Voronov?
I worry about recognizability.
That's true. But, maintaining a pretzel.
Yep.
And then, artistically have a bite taken out of it.
It is in the foodstuff category. And I'm just going to go out on a limb there and say that that's probably not going to have much in the way of conflicts. Let's see what is in the combination of bears and foodstuffs. There are none.
Woohoo!
There are no devices with both bears and foodstuffs. At least one primary bear, that is. Yeah. So, and with that knowledge, you will be able to find a color combination that gets you clear. So,
Yep.
if you would like a bear holding a pretzel, you can have a bear holding a pretzel.
Excellent. I might. I don't know. I'm so I'm so torn.
I'm perfectly fine with this.
It's mostly me getting all wrapped up in my head.
And the problem for heralds is there are so many great ideas out there and only so many opportunities to use them.
We only have 10 armory slots, and that just got bumped up to 10.
Iago says that a bear holding a pretzel would not surprise.
It almost begs to have a bear holding a tankard as well. Oh no, I think we have lost them. No, there we go.
Oh wait, are we back?
You're back! Yay!
Yay!
Sorry about that.
No, it happens.
A
It's
little
all good.
Internet instability over here.
The internet is only as stable as the denizens of the house. Sorry.
Oh, that's a bad precedent. That is a very bad precedent. Ooh.
I mean.
Wow. All right.
So heraldry. About that heraldry.
Did you see the comment from Leo?
That's so awesome.
Thanks, Leo.
Leo Logan? Yes!
Yes, Logan.
Yay,
Sorry.
Logan!
Yeah, I don't know that smashing the like button would actually do a whole lot for this. Like, for my YouTube account, the only thing that actually would matter is if I got more than 1,000 subscribers, because then I could actually stream from my phone. But that's not going to happen.
It can happen. Never say never.
I mean, I suppose I could get internet famous for some reason.
Arbitrarily subscribe to this channel. Make your friends and family do it for no apparent reason. It'll be great.
I mean, I could probably just figure out it's a clickjacking attack and just steal a bunch. Yeah. No.
No.
Okay. I use my hacking powers for good.
For good.
For good.
Only for
Only
good.
for good.
Get a botnet.
For good.
Just because I theoretically know how to do these things doesn't mean that I'm going to. All right. Yes, we could appreciate some questions here. We've been at this for an hour. And
we've got a whole nother hour to go.
Because we were scheduled for an hour and a half, but apparently we're doing 2 hours instead.
Yay!
Yay! All right. How would you like to see heraldry used that you're not seeing it now? That is an excellent question.
Face paint. Faces are shield shaped. Oh, I'm here for you.
Let's see. How would I like to see heraldry used that I'm not seeing now? I think I would like to see signet rings.
I have one. Oh no, I don't. I have a seal stamp. You can get signet rings made, and I know there are a few people who have them. They're super cool.
Yeah, but signet rings would be really cool.
I think
they're
we
cool
need
part of your
to
kit.
have heraldic pennons. I bet that we probably have the technology out there to just set up a micro store for pennons. If you look at illuminated manuscripts and stuff, whenever they have like fields of tents, they've all got the heraldic
the pennants on the
tents.
On the tents, yes. Whose tent is that? Amongst the sea of identical white tents.
Cormac did mention more tabards.
Tabards.
Tabards are great for certain periods. Honestly, more display in general. And I'm super guilty of this. My current fighting kit does not have my heraldry on it anywhere, including on the shield.
We should fix that.
Yes, yeah. I totally do agree that putting it on stuff is a great idea. I do have a box with I have 3 boxes with at least some version of my device or badge.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the reason that I registered one of my badges is because it is a motif from my device that I was using to mark my stuff. So I now have fieldless a music note Azure. I have a blue music note because I've got my field semi of music notes Azure on my device, and I use a blue music note to mark stuff that is mine.
Nice, yeah. And I know that Kate and I have discussed that you can get a stamp for some things, which is, thank you, totally a period thing. I think we were specifically talking about ermine spots, and get a stamp to stamp on the ermine spots on things. But that is totally period. There was just something recently where somebody had, it was a roll of arms where they had used a stamp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was
for the super common stuff. So it's like, oh look, it's another lion.
Yeah. Because boy, did that save
I hope it's a derp
time.
Lion. I really hope it's a derp lion.
Hold on,
Yes.
That tab up from
because
when
derp
we
lions
did that test stream. When we did a test of this technology, we were just doing the screen sharing testing, and I pulled up the set of rolls of arms that I was just showing earlier, and flipped to a random page, and we were talking about derp lions, and this random page I pulled up happened to have derp lions on it. So let's see.
Awkwardly common. Nobody knows how to draw fucking lion faces in period.
No one could.
No rating. Sorry.
And derp lions. They're so derpy.
Yeah, they're pretty good, and I have a soft spot in my heart for derp lions, and I have ever since I ran across my first actually non-heraldic derp lion. It was a lion on the Dahlem tapestry, which is I think early 15th century Swedish tapestry that has a bunch of squares that have roundels on them, and in each roundel is a critter, and it's, I think, 16 of them, but there's 8 pairs because it's done with a technique called intarsio, where you take 2 different colors and stack them and cut the same design out of both of them, and then swap the parts.
Cool.
And I was reconstructing one of the panels, just one. I was not going to do the entire tapestry, but I was reconstructing one of the panels from that tapestry for an arts and sciences competition. And it was such a good derp lion. Just a big, broad grin, and the tongue sticking out like, meh.
Crystal, we'll get to your question in a minute because that is an interesting question that will take a minute to answer. But before that, badges versus arms. So when I said that I have things that are marked with my badge or device, part of that is because my armory is Azure in Chief, a Fox, blah, 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 Argent. I also have a badge that is just the Fox. So if it's displayed on a blue field, it's pretty hard to tell the difference. And that's more or less on purpose. Since I didn't really want that Fox to be in Chief, I was kind of forced into it by other things. The derpiest lion. I am, how do I, wait a minute. Do I have a copy? No. I could put Iago in timeout. But I won't. Iago does say that the roll with the stamps was one of his posts. So that is not
Excellent.
a surprise. So much of the research that I think is cool is Iago's.
Did you want a copy of my favorite derp lion face? What?
Iago has a link to the derpiest lion, but unfortunately, I don't see a way for me to actually copy the text out of that.
I just did, so give me a second.
Yes.
So do you have go to
Oh my God, yes. Give me just a moment.
Okay. Yeah. So you should have a share screen option when you stop sharing mine.
One moment.
Let's. Yep. Take your time. And add that to the stream. That is
It looks like a Simpsons cat.
It does look like a Simpsons cat.
that is amazing.
It's so good.
I love it so much.
It's so good. Thank you, Iago. It's so good. It's so bad. It's so good.
Proof that bad art is period.
Yeah. Those 4 wings are really cool.
They're
Are
very
you really
good.
bad at drawing? Good. Your shield will look heraldic and period.
I mean, and then there's like a perfectly nice lion rampant just like down in the corner there. It's not particularly derpy. It's only a little derpy.
And then there's Confetti Lion.
Ooh.
Ooh, those 5 roses are interesting. 5.
Look again.
3 and 2.
Wow.
Oh, see, that's a lion in profile. It's always the lions facing the camera. Or facing the
Yeah,
door.
it's the Lion's Garden.
You cannot draw facing the
Yeah.
front.
I mean,
Lion's Garden. And
I can't draw at all, so I'll give them a pass.
There.
Thanks. Yeah. Oh, that was wonderful, Iago.
That was fabulous.
Yeah.
So one last thing about that before we get back to Crystal's question. So yes, we strangely have a higher standard for art in the SCA than they did in period.
Oh yeah.
And that's partially because they're kind of doing different things with it. And so I don't know. What do you think? If someone registered exactly that derp lion, like if someone submitted that, would we register it as drawn?
I mean, honestly, if it came through the West College and other heralds in the West College put up a stink, I would put up a stink about them putting up a stink. Because I think it's wonderful and it's so period.
It is totally documentable. Can stand.
I was going to say the downside of that, though, is it would probably be registered as a lion argent, and the derp face would not be a thing. Which, unless you really know your scribes, like put it on your wiki page if you've got one, that you like your lion this way.
So there's an interesting point there. With the advent of Oscar, which is our internal commenting system, for those of you who don't know what we mean by Oscar in this context, I think that a lot of scribes, correct me if I'm wrong, are looking at what's registered instead of just looking at the blazon now. Is that true?
Yes. You can always reach out to the archivist for it. Who has
The archivist,
everything.
there's
Yes, and I've done that. But for things that have been registered in since Oscar came online, which has been a good number of years now, those things are.
I've done it.
And I think that as we move forward, technically speaking, the picture is always what was registered.
Yep.
And we just use the words as a way of communicating what that picture looks like to other people.
That's why you have to get approval for any sort of redraw. But the blazon itself is malleable and can be tweaked as needed.
So that it describes the picture properly.
Yes, so it properly describes the picture, because what we're attempting to do with the blazon is give those reading just the words who have never seen the original picture enough information that they can accurately, accurately within a heraldic accuracy.
Within a margin of error.
Accurate. Yes, within a given heraldic margin of error, accurately reproduce that picture. And that is the entire point of blazonry.
And one of the things we've seen by having access to all of these armorials is we get to see these same arms reproduced by different people, different times in different contexts.
Yeah, over the centuries even.
Over the centuries. And sometimes they actually change, but more often it's just different drawings. But some of them have very standard depictions.
Yeah, and Constantia had something?
Yes.
I actually wrote an article about this on my blog.
Ooh, cool.
So let me go
I
get that.
should link that in the comments. Yes. I forgot where we were at this point, but that's fine. We're going to go up to this question. The bum trumpet players are in fact all over manuscripts. However, marginalia is only questionably registrable. It's not Armory.
No.
So it falls into a category of period art that may or may not be registrable depending on a number of other factors.
Such as, can we describe it?
The bum trumpet players themselves might fall under the offense category, unfortunately, as much as we all love them. But there's an awful lot of things in marginalia and other period artifacts like pilgrim badges. There's the vagina riding a rooster.
Yes.
Which is totally a period
there's a
motif that we would not register, unfortunately. But I totally understand why. There's a lot of things in marginalia that are really neat. They are very period.
Cat snails.
Cat snails. Very cool to use in illuminated manuscripts that we are doing for the same purpose they were used then, but are unlikely to be registerable as armorial motifs.
And not everything can be blazoned.
There is a lot of just beautiful or really funny artwork out there that we can't blazon and isn't heraldic in design. But there's plenty of room in this world for art that's not heraldry.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of that.
Yeah.
Hey, Fleeg's here.
Haha.
Hi, Fleeg.
All right. We have successfully made it through an hour and 15 minutes. Does anyone have more questions? Let me transfer this comment over to here and say that this is the article on scribal. Interesting. Yes, that sounds like a very interesting topic.
Yes, it does. That is, yeah. I'll probably read that later.
Yeah. Go fish that out of the comments later and read it myself.
Fishy.
Yes. All right. So for those of you who joined late, we're now going to horrify some more people.
Yay!
By going back to my spreadsheet.
Ooh, the spreadsheet.
Dun dun dun!
Oh, that's excellent. Okay. So, is it sharing? Doesn't appear to be sharing. Hold on. Why didn't it share? Share that.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Ooh.
Ooh. So, Fleeg asked what you're drinking.
I am drinking the Doppelbock Dunkel from Kloster Andex. It is a German import. This is what it looks like. It's really good.
How are we supposed to get sponsors if you don't show me?
I don't think we're trying for sponsors. Thanks,
Okay.
I mean, at this point,
I hesitate to think who would sponsor us.
Okay, so we'll deal with Crystal Leak's question first and then get to Cormac. The most difficult piece of heraldry you ever got past.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the most difficult, but both the submitter or both the owner of the now registered arms and I are both very proud of it. Pong.
oh,
It is sable in bend, a plate between two billets, palewise, argent. It is Pong.
Yeah, it is.
That's what the submitter wanted, and we made it happen.
I wasn't personally involved, but I was pretty fond of the starship that went up a couple of years ago.
Oh, the literal starship with
Mhm.
the star on the sail and the
Mhm.
starry background.
Yeah.
I was involved with that.
And that was a lovely device that there was a small controversy of whether that was going to be allowed.
Yeah. We had to get permission to conflict with somebody back east who
Because of
had
the
a
sail.
badge that conflicted with the sail.
Because sales on Armory were a subset of heraldic display.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a particularly neat one.
Yeah.
I don't think I can think of
It was
anything.
for a literal
for me.
starship for an actual NASA scientist.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what of something that I was part of, and actually, I do know. I had a client who wanted a penis tree from Marginalia, and it was an issue of offensiveness, and so we ended up changing all of the penises to pears, which pears are totally okay. Yeah, we changed it to that, and he will on his own stuff. He'll put little penises on his tree, and yeah, but working with him to get that done.
Oh, you were muted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
That's fine.
The pears mysteriously have rosy tips. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move to Cormac, who has a court heraldry question. What is your favorite bit of perfectly documentable court shtick? I don't think I have ever looked at documentable court shtick. I don't think I have ever actually looked at period court doings.
No, neither have I. The closest that I've gotten to that has been my involvement in the Perfectly Period Feasts, but that's still several removes away from actual court heraldry.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question that I don't think I have an answer to.
I bet court stick.
I bet Cormac has something in mind, so feel free to tell us stories, Cormac, because you have more good stories than most people do.
Haha.
True.
Let's move on to Edith. What is your favorite thing that you have been able to say to someone you are helping with their heraldry? It pretty much always it passed.
Yes. Or but another of my favorites is when they say, "Hey, can I do X?" I love being able to say, "Why, yes, you can do X."
It is very satisfying.
Mhm.
It really is.
Especially when you go research diving in order to come up with that, yes, you can. In service of puns, in service of they just really, really want that thing. All sorts of things. Another favorite thing is, have you considered canting arms?
Constantia, did you have something for this question in particular?
I think I do. I think my favorite thing is telling submitters, not only did your device pass, but it looked period enough that they got a nice device comment. Those are not typically given out very often. They are like for really, truly rock star devices. And it is my favorite thing to say, hey, guess what? That or defining charges. Where a defining charge is the first time it's ever been registered in the SCA. And that's really cool.
I haven't done that one yet. I should look around to see if I can define a charge somewhere. For people who might be interested in doing such a thing, the SCA unofficial heraldry chat has posts about it every now and then. I'm going to mute us for just a moment.
All right. I guess I'm doing this for now while they're muted. But yeah, canting is awesome. And anytime that we get to see it, it's fab.
All right, we're back. Just had to make some noise over here for a moment. Okay.
Make some noise.
Rebecca asks, can you do recursive display? So can you have a device with a ship and the sale is charged with the device, etc.? The short answer is no. However, you could come close. You could basically have two devices registered, one of which is the device.
One would be a badge.
You're right. One would be a badge. You're right. One device, one badge. Have with the ship and whatever else you've got going on with a plain sail, and that would be the badge, and then make the device all of that with the badge on the. You'll still run into complexity, right?
That depends on how many colors you're using and what you're doing with the background, if anything. What else is on it?
We should tell Hannah about this idea and
Yes.
see how complex she can get it without
Yes.
actually breaking any rules.
100%. Hey, Hannah!
Hannah's not listening to us. But that is, yes, an interesting idea. I think we'd had that idea before. You can't get too deep on it.
Okay. And we have a clarification from Cormac on what he means by documentable court shtick. People that think... Please hold.
Let me just put this up here.
We're all just recalibrating.
Things that people have done in court that were things that people did in periods, such as singing or chanting while coming into court, calls and responses, etc. As a matter of fact, how many years ago did you get knighted?
About 6 at this point.
So about 6.5 years ago, when Kean here got knighted, drink. I and several other folks sang him into court.
And it was lovely.
We sang Sumerisikumenin in that particular instance, because I believe it was a Beltane, was it not?
It was a Beltane. It was, yes.
So Sumerisikumenin seemed a very reasonable choice.
What is it?
So singing people into court is something that I've taken part in several times, both solo and as part of both large and small ensembles. And for my elevation, I was sung into court to Stella Splendens in Monte, which is from the Libro Vermeil de Montserrat and is one of my absolute favorite pieces from period.
I have to say the most impressive piece of court shtick that, not necessarily documentable per se, is plausible as something that might have happened in period, is when Duke Guillaume de la Belgique was stepping down as Baron of Calafia before he was king the first time, and did a whole play acting going crazy bit, and was retrieved by the abbey, which is more or less a monastic order, and was escorted out for his own safekeeping. And that was extremely impressive, both because Guillaume is actually an actor, and he did a very good job over several months of going crazy. And because the Abbey, when they actually bothered to dress up and be impressive, are in fact very impressive.
Haha, nice.
Yeah, that was a neat bit of shtick.
I've got one, but it's a little bit more humorous because it involves largesse.
Oh, please.
So, the actual largesse was not made of period material, but presentations of largesse completely period. They happened in court. We have documentation for it. And my very dear friend, Count Senyaka of Callantyre, makes an announcement that he would like to present largesse to the crown. And we're going, okay. And he walks in and he proceeds to talk about the knightly virtues, about prowess, and but yet the greatest of these was, Count Senyaka is about 5'0", 4'10". He's very short. He holds up on a pole a large yellow Gothic S. Court utterly destroyed in 3 seconds. It was amazing. Because largesse was the most important. So not the giving of largesse is period, but this particular thing was not. We were laughing for about 15 minutes. Court got utterly derailed.
The literally large S. That is
excellent.
That is fabulous.
That is.
Sarah says that Adiantium giving out its baronial brownie points is a good bit of shtick. Unfortunately, I've never been to court in Adiantium. Adiantum. I don't even know how to.
Adiantum.
Thanks. I've never been to court there.
That's what heralds are for, pronouncing things.
But I am a herald. Oh no.
Well, crap.
Thanks. I got applause once in court for correctly pronouncing a name.
I have a friend whose name I can say just fine literally any time other than when I am calling her into court.
And since I've gotten this question a lot, I know that it wasn't for the person getting the award because they were given the award under their Roman name, and like no one in the audience knew the Roman name.
Mhm.
That was Sheridan, who also does Roman reenactment separately,
Okay.
or at least did at the time.
Yeah.
Like he has stuff in museums.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But for some reason they gave him an award under the Roman name, and it's 4 words long and there's like 1 million syllables. It was impressive.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Does anyone else have things to talk about? Because if not, we're going to go back to my heraldry randomizer.
I love that toy.
Oh.
All right. It's refreshed since the last time do I want a triangle and a ewer? I don't know.
No, let's see what mine says.
What's yours say? Or I can randomize over here again.
Ooh, I've got it. Here, make a device with a plant, wheat. Oh, it just refreshed again.
No. Oh, it's because whenever someone alters it, it refreshes.
Ah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, this is a leaf and a wheel in ore,
Ooh.
vert, and maybe ore.
A leaf and a wheel. That's very interesting. Okay.
We can do fun things with that.
Probably.
Oh, definitely.
Thing between 3 things motif,
A leaf between 3 wheels.
or vice versa, a wheel between 3 leaves.
Okay, that's possible.
Could even do a have fun with doing an oral of objects.
Yes.
We could.
Yes.
An oral of leaves and an oral of wheels.
I think an oral of wheels would actually be quite attractive.
Okay. That does sound interesting.
And it doesn't specify the type of leaf, but our colors are ore and vert.
Okay.
And maybe ore.
That's because when I put this thing together, I didn't do any kind of checking to see if it was duplicating previous tinctures. Because
and this is why we test things.
Well, so what's actually...
we're testing it now.
Yes, and I knew that was an issue. What's going on there is that in order to make it checked for duplication, you actually have to make multiple lists. Unless you do actual programming, which spreadsheets are not so good at actual programming. So I do have the ability to make that happen. It'll just take some work.
Yeah, and why?
I mean, when I get bored at some point, I will.
That's
just
fair.
I have to get back and actually do that.
Okay, so we have a leaf of some variety. Let's go with a linden leaf.
Semi of leaves. That's an interesting idea.
Yes.
Okay, well, let me go find...
I quite like the shape of the linden leaf. I think it's very pretty.
Well, let me see what images we have available to us on heraldicart.org. Since I can't draw, and I'm just copy-pasting anyway. So
Canthus, chrysanthemum,
holly, ivy, laurel, linden.
Linden.
That is a lot like a spade.
That's true.
But that's fine.
Maple.
We can do that. I mean, I love maple leaves personally, but that's a New World plant, yeah?
I think so.
No.
Maybe?
I don't think so.
Throughout the Northern Hemisphere. Okay, I guess. All right.
Excellent.
Well, that's cool. Let me just grab a maple leaf here.
Yeah.
And copy that. And
let's see. So we're building the device right now. What color should we do? We're doing ore and vert, I think. Yes, ore and vert. So do we want ore background with vert charges? Do we want to do it the other way around with a vert background and ore charges?
Good question. Let me
Your answer is the confusion comes from sugar maples are Eastern North America.
Okay.
Maples as a group, which all have similar leaves, are much more widespread.
Okay.
Thank you, Kate.
I don't know if that was audible on the mic, But the answer is that sugar maples, the maples that we get maple syrup from, are North American. But there are other maples.
There are other maples.
Iconically, Japanese maples.
Oh, of course there are. Duh.
I feel dumb now.
Oh. Yeah.
I tried to tell y'all.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
man.
couldn't see you. I was on the wrong tab.
Yep, I was too.
bad.
Let's see. I'm on all kinds of the wrong tab. I should go back and actually like show people what I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Although Iago has a beautiful blazon with no conflicts as far as I can tell.
Ooh, vert 3 oak leaves ore.
that's clear. That's
oh,
amazing.
that's pretty.
Yeah.
And put like 3 wheels in chief
Don't
Yeah.
even need to though.
and just kind of change that. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, so we
Oak
have a
leaves.
wheel and leaf.
let me go grab an oak leaf so I can actually like.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a nice oak leaf.
This
Let's see
one?
what the other one looks like too.
we have a bunch of options for oak leaves.
Mhm. Oh my, there's 5.
Yeah. Go all the artists who have contributed to heraldicart.org's library.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Yes. Artists, we love you.
Because I can't draw at all. Hey, let's use the one that was adapted by Iago.
Hey.
I mean,
Okay, let's see. Do you have that tab showing so people can see what you're in process doing?
Let's find out. Did I get the right tab? Yes, I got the right tab.
Excellent.
Let's see. Yes. For some reason, I have to
Sizing.
resize individually on this program, and I don't remember
Mhm.
why that's the case. But it's a free image editor online, so I'm not going to argue too hard. Can I have them overlap like that, or do I need to make them smaller?
Well, we still need to do a wheel of some sort in
We
there.
don't necessarily need to for
Well,
at least for
that's
what
true.
Iago was suggesting.
Oh,
we
and it
can-
does say a leaf and maybe a wheel.
It does, because you don't
And-
always have to have 2 different types of
And the
charges.
vert 3 oak leaves ore is just
That
it's so
is
beautiful.
that is beautiful.
Thank you, Iago. And apparently ore 3 wheels vert is also clear.
Wow. So let's throw
Take
some
note,
green on
If
here.
you're looking for arms and you don't know what you want, but you think wheels or leaves are cool,
Oh man, look how cool that looks. Let's find us some ore.
or
Thanks. Let's, oh, that's not going to work. Hold on. Let's undo that.
let's
Have to
try
get
that
into
on
the
the
right
right layer.
The right layer, because layers are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your Grace, that's Pixlr.
Heraldry has
Um,
layers.
Heraldry has layers, like an onion.
Yes. Thank you.
And
That is
ogre.
exactly where I was going with that. Yes.
Parfaits! Bella parfaits!
No, that was not what I wanted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in a little so you can hit the white.
There we go. And boom. Look how cool
Ta-da.
that is. That is
Oh my
amazing.
God,
And that's
that is
clear.
beautiful.
Right?
And Iago says the argent leaves are also clear for what it's worth.
That is super, super cool.
That is sexy.
Yep.
Dead sexy.
Mm.
You go back to the chat so I can see what people are talking about. Let's see. Let's go find a wheel.
Wheel. Wheel.
Not a whelk, not wheat.
Wheelk.
Wheel. Not a Catherine wheel, not a cog wheel, not a water wheel, just a wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The wheels on the shield go round and round, round and round, round and round.
Round and round.
Oh, that would be fun. if you had a shield and if your device had wheels on it and you had a shield that had wheels that actually spun.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry. You know I'm right. It would be amazing.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
War shield, archer target. If you hit the wheels, they spin.
Now I'm envisioning a shieldman standing next to an archer,
Uh-huh.
and the shieldman's got the wheel, and you spin the wheel to pick the target.
Ooh. So you've got, would that be quarterly of 4 different tinctures? And you've got a wheel?
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, write a bunch of names around the outside, and like if it's at like Great Western, you can pretty much know a lot of the names that are going to be on the other side.
That's true.
So you could like preload them with like all the Kaid knights and stuff.
Oh, honey, look, you made the whole thing yellow.
Oh, hold on. How did I do that?
You clicked it accidentally.
I didn't mean to do that. Let's put a wheel in here instead. There's a wheel.
Oh. Yes. Wheels on a round shield. And also, Rebecca is tempted to make her Argent fish slap animated.
I approve. Oh, didn't actually need to make the wheel partly ore, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be what, a wheel Argent rimmed ore, a wheel or spoked Argent?
Rebecca had suggested.
What if we did issuant from the wheel?
Oh, yeah.
We could. Rebecca had suggested semi of leaves. And I think, unfortunately, that's going to be a little bit of a pain in this particular format because it won't let me copy paste at the same size.
Yeah. I mean, you could just...
For some reason.
Try just copying one of those layers. So once you've got it selected at the right size, hit copy.
Layer.
I just meant hit Control-C and see if it'll let you copy it as a stamp.
Let's find out.
I think GIMP lets me do that.
Did not.
But this is...
no, it is not.
Oh, I broke my drink again.
Oh, no.
You need a drink.
I might. I am drinking for 3, so...
Oh, wow. It doesn't actually copy at all from here. That's interesting. How about... Oh, no, it just doesn't copy at all.
That's fascinating.
Go away, Ad. Do you need Kate to fix your drink?
Hey,
I'm here for you.
could you fix my drink?
How do you need it?
It's empty.
Do you need more beer? Do you need hard liquor?
I think I need more Patriarch tears.
Would you
I
like?
have enjoyed the beer thoroughly, but I would like another Patriarch tears. The classic way, please, rather than the rose alcohol way, because...
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to die.
I don't want to die.
That's fair.
All right.
So, for those of you watching who wish to know how to make a Patriarch tears, you take 1.5 ounces of gin, add a dash of rose water, and shake with ice. Strain into a cocktail glass and add beverage glitter. You can get FDA-approved edible luster dust that you can put just a teeny little pinch in your drink, and then top up with sparkling lemonade.
So delightful.
I have a question. For semi, ignore the colors for the moment. What is an appropriate number for semi?
6 or more.
Yeah,
Well, if
pretty
you've got
much.
special charge, that does make it more interesting.
Because I'm just throwing oak leaves on here, and I'm like, you're going to have an identifiability problem
Right.
to an extent. And I guess there's an extent to which this wheel should be larger.
Yeah.
A wheel should...
Look, you have an identifiability problem with oak leaves as soon as you get a Californian in there. 30 different species of oaks. They all have different leaves. They're not the same thing. We have issues.
We do have a variety of oak leaves to choose from.
Right. Could make some noise.
Okay, noise happening.
I would almost bet
Whoops.
if you did like a cut from cloth type of semi, that it might work. But
Mhm.
it's still yeah.
Yeah, and have the partial leaves sticking out from underneath the wheel.
Yeah. Not as pretty.
Especially if you've got But if you have the wheel argent and the leaves ore,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do the semi of leaves and then in ore and stick the argent wheel on top of that, and then you've got the leaves doing the peekaboo.
Yep.
Through the wheel, because
Mhm.
wheels are hollow in the middle.
They are. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about getting these leaves back to...
I do love all the comments that we are getting about wheels.
Oh, Iago, thank you for the Wheel of Fish reference.
Yes.
Oh God, Wheel of Fish.
Yes.
I need to find a copy of UHF.
Yes.
I really do.
Oh God, I love that movie.
I actually got to spin a wheel of fish at a Weird Al concert.
Red Snapper. Very nice.
Yes, a different leaf would probably be more recognizable for this purpose. Okay, so we are going to...
Cormanberg oak leaf is more identifiable at a smaller size. I
Okay,
assume that's one of the other ones.
presumably. I keep hitting the wrong thing.
Layers, like an onion.
Let's get rid of some leaves here.
This may or may not be made accurately.
Let's find out.
It's glittery.
Although,
I am okay with glittery.
Let me know if it's missing something
actually,
obvious.
before I delete everything, while I've got things here, let me make this wheel a little bit smaller. Someone had mentioned an oral of...
That could work out really
leaves.
well as well.
Did you use simple syrup?
No.
Okay. It tastes a little bit sweeter than usual. Interesting.
It might have
So-
more of the lemonade.
Oh, that's fair.
If you have an
I might just put
oral,
more lemonade in it. than
will
you did.
the leaf follow the shape of the shield?
It could.
Yeah, if
I-
you haven't specified the direction that the leaves are facing, I would actually expect their orientation to follow the edge of the shield.
Right.
Yeah, bring a couple leaves back, because smaller. Because that would actually be pretty interesting
Mm-hmm.
to have leaves go kind of round and round.
The leaves on the shield go round
Thank
and round.
Thank you. Open up here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oral those leaves, baby.
Okay. All right then.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up and drink more.
Patriarchy cheers.
You are all
You-
doing
you-
real good.
Comments are happening because I'm not on the...
Let's see. We have. Oh, okay. So there's an oral of popinjays that is period where they are all upright.
Ooh, interesting.
So I suppose it could go either way.
wrong.
That's not what you wanted to
Nope, it's not. I got it though.
do. Oh, Wheel of Morality, turn and turn. Tell us. Yes, thank you, Cormac.
But like, is this
Animaniacs reference.
is this
I love you all.
acceptable oral of leaves? It looks really cool.
It does. So, what do our viewers think? We'll wait about 30 seconds to start getting the replies because we have delay.
And in the meantime, I will go back and read the chat.
Crystal asks, is there a rule about no roses unless queen?
I've got this one. I've got it.
Go ahead.
Okay, Constantia, go!
And
So you can put a rose on your shield, even if you're not queen. The only difference is you cannot put a chaplet of roses or a rose wreath unless you have been queen or a middle or have been admitted to the Order of the Rose. But if you want an individual rose on your shield or 3 roses or something like that, and it doesn't conflict with anything, run. But yeah, individual roses, totally fine.
And we're unmuted. So, yeah, there aren't roses that are specifically reserved. You will run into a few regional idiosyncrasies, such as in Kaid, where the yellow rose is for
Texas?
Queen's Order of Courtesy.
It is, yes. So it's probably socially inadvisable to use a yellow rose in Kaid. However, if you've got one registered elsewhere and then you immigrate to Kaid, then they can just suck it. Yeah.
Verbatim.
Tell him Kean said, Kaid can suck it.
You know, that would get an interesting reaction depending on which part of Kaid you're in.
Sorry, which card for you?
Yes.
So Edith asks about the Tudor rose, which I believe is a red and white double rose.
Which is a rose on a rose.
A rose on a rose.
And
so
I believe the Tudor rose is still restricted.
it is still restricted last I checked, which was less than a year ago, because I was attempting to do a Painting the Roses Red badge for Countess Alice.
Yeah, it's still restricted.
Yeah. Not a huge surprise.
But I think a rose perfess wavy ghouls and argent goody de sang might be okay, maybe. But that was the Painting the Roses Red that I was like, Alice, I made you a thing! Because we work together. And sometimes not all things that happen at work are work related, but most of them are. I promise, if you're watching this, boss.
He's not.
I mean, he might. I don't know.
No
I mean, he's
way.
probably not watching it now, but, you know, just
I
in
like
case.
that red.
You know how much I love being
Ooh.
able to just click a button and make the whole thing change? It's
Oh,
really cool.
that is pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like that.
As someone who can't draw at all, being able to just like copy paste things and click around and make them colors is really cool.
The copy pasta is strong.
Pasta.
Also, pasta is delicious.
All right.
And Constantia and I are apparently on the same wavelength as usual.
We are almost done with our shenanigans. So if people want to get their last minute questions in, bring them on. Thank you, Crystal Leak. That does make more sense than what you typed the first time.
I mean,
For those of you who don't know, I have known Crystal Leak for a very long time, back when we were both in Kaid.
this has been a lot of fun.
Pleasure knowing Crystal.
I am glad that you could join us.
Yes,
Having a third person is nice. We should do guests more often.
we should.
Yeah.
You know, I bet if we put out a call, we'd get volunteers.
Actually, you know what would be really nice is if we didn't have to do this anymore, because that would mean that quarantine was over.
Yay!
That's going to be a while still. So
We could still, you know, even once it's over, occasionally do Heraldry
We could.
Shenanigans shows.
This has been in conjunction with major Kingdom events, so I presume
has
we'll do one
been.
again for 12th night.
Most likely, if the Crown requests it, as the Crown has been so far, which,
Because that's the
thank
next,
you, Your Majesty.
the
We
next
do enjoy
major
doing this.
If
Kingdom
they don't
event.
ask it, you can have an informal one off the books, like the weekend before.
We could, yeah. And this has been fun. Did we shenan at all? I
Yes.
think we did, in fact, shenan.
Yes.
There were shenanigans.
Again and again.
And again.
we shenaned, and then we shenaned again.
Yep, definitely. So thank you all for bearing with us. Hopefully this was an entertaining use of a couple of hours of your time. Cormac has volunteered. So next time we do this, 12th night, Cormac, usually the second or third weekend in January?
Yeah, it's usually the second.
Usually
weekend.
the second weekend in January?
I believe it is the first non-New Year's weekend in January.
Okay, well, we'll look at the calendar, and I would love to have Cormac on our Heraldry Shenanigans, because that sounds like a great time.
Yeah, there are many heralds I would love to have on here. Like as Constantia, you have been an absolute delight to have on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It has been so much fun.
Let's see. Have we missed any chats?
It's looking like we got everything.
I think we got everything. We had a pretty nice turnout. A couple dozen people.
Oh yeah.
So that's great. And I think I'm good for calling it 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for anybody going to Bardic or the 3-man that's being hosted by the Barony of Alicia, I believe, that starts in about 5 minutes. So bio break.
And thank you all. This has been Shenanigans with Kean
and Aasa
and Constantia.
Hey, Constantia!
Yay!
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to turn this thing off now.
Bye.
Bye.